Chapter 9. What Pressure Reveals About Leadership. Pressure doesn't change leaders, it reveals them. That's one of the hardest truths to accept, especially for leaders who believe they'll show up better once things calm down. Once the right people are in place, once the workload lightens, and once uncertainty fades. But leadership doesn't wait for ideal conditions. Pressure is the condition. I used to think pressure was something to be managed, something to absorb so others didn't have to feel it. I wore it like armor. I told myself that was leadership, shielding the team, carrying the weight, staying strong. What I didn't realize was that pressure was shaping my leadership in real time, and my team was watching. Under pressure, leaders default to instinct, not values, not intentions, instinct. When time is short and stakes are high, leaders do not rise to their aspirations. They fall back on their habits. That's when leadership becomes visible, not in what's said, but in what's done. Pressure reveals whether leaders trust people or trust control, whether they value clarity or urgency, whether they build ownership or demand compliance. Those choices aren't theoretical, they're daily. I saw this clearly when things weren't going well. Deadlines tightened, expectations stacked, resources stretched thinner than planned. And in those moments, my leadership became louder, faster, and more directive. I justified it as necessary, responsible, temporary. But temporary behavior leaves permanent impressions. What pressure revealed wasn't my strategy, it revealed my reflexes. Pressure reveals how leaders handle uncertainty. Some respond by narrowing decision making. They pull authority inward. They reduce communication. They move faster and explain less. From their perspective, it's efficiency. From the team's perspective, it feels like distance. Others responded by slowing just enough to create clarity. They explain trade-offs. They involve the right people. They hold the line on values even when it'd be easier not to. The difference isn't personality, it's preparation. Pressure also reveals what leaders truly believe about people. Leaders who believe people are capable behave differently under stress than those who believe people need to be managed closely. One leans into trust, the other leans into oversight. Neither announces itself, but both are felt immediately. People don't need a memo to know when trust has been replaced by control. They feel it in tone, in access, in how quickly decisions are reversed or overridden. Pressure makes those signals impossible to hide. I learned that pressure exposes alignment, or the lack of it. In aligned teams, pressure sharpens focus. People rally, they communicate more clearly, they make trade-offs together. The culture holds. In misaligned teams, pressure fractures, silos deepen, blame surfaces, communication shrinks. People protect their territory instead of the mission. Same pressure, different foundations. Pressure reveals whether culture was built intentionally or by accident. Accidental cultures rely on good days. Intentional cultures hold on bad ones. When expectations, values, and trust haven't been reinforced consistently, pressure becomes the stress test that causes everything to crack. That's not because people are weak, it's because the culture never had structure. I also learned that pressure reveals leaders' emotional discipline. When leaders become reactive, others become cautious. When leaders become defensive, others become quiet. When leaders become unpredictable, others stop taking risks. Emotion under pressure sets the tone faster than any policy. Leaders don't need to become emotionless, they need to be regulated. Pressure reveals what leaders prioritize when trade-offs are unavoidable. Do they protect people or numbers? Do they protect trust or speed? Do they protect clarity or appearances? Every pressured decision sends a message, even the ones leaders believe are invisible. They aren't. One of the hardest realizations for me was understanding that pressure didn't excuse my leadership missteps. It explained them. An explanation isn't permission. Pressure didn't cause inconsistency, it revealed it. Pressure didn't create confusion, it exposed where clarity was missing. Pressure didn't break trust, it showed where trust hadn't been built yet. That realization was uncomfortable. It was also freeing. Because if pressure reveals leadership, then leadership can be prepared for pressure. Leaders don't have to guess how they'll respond when things get hard. They can decide in advance. They can practice consistency before it's tested. They can build trust, clarity, and systems while things are calm. Preparation doesn't eliminate pressure, it changes the outcome. The leaders who perform best under pressure aren't the smartest or the loudest. They're the most grounded. They know who they are. They know what they stand for. They know what won't change. even when everything else does. That stability becomes the anchor others need. Pressure will always be part of leadership. Markets shift, people leave, plans fail, expectations collide. No book can remove that reality. But leaders who are built for pressure don't fear it, they respect it. They understand that pressure is not the enemy of leadership, it's the proving ground. In the next chapter, we'll explore how leaders prepare for pressure before it arrives, and why the best leadership work happens long before the moment it's needed. Because leadership that only works in calm conditions isn't leadership, it's convenience. And convenience never survives pressure. That concludes this episode of Built for Pressure. Built for Pressure is a copyrighted work by Richard Levene. All rights reserved. This content may not be reproduced, distributed, or repurposed without permission. If this episode resonated, you can find the full framework at richardlevene.com.